Put your mouth where your money is. Radio for small business with Homba Biz.
Well, it's Radio for Small Business. Your host, Eugene Rowe. Check us out on homeabiz.com. You can also check the show out on Google Play, iTunes, Spreaker, SoundCloud, and a whole lot more options. Right now, today, I've got David Lynch with Simonin Realtors on the show. David, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your background. Realty, real estate, are you investing? Or are you more so realtor? How's that work?
I'm a commercial realtor. I've been in the business about 30 years. I got my MBA in 85 and started out with Humana in corporate acquisition and development, picking out their sites around the Southeast U.S. when they were a hospital company.
Wow.
Then went on to NTS. It's a regional commercial group here that leases office buildings. They had about 21 office buildings.
Okay.
Did some leasing for them, and then I got into general commercial brokerage and have followed that path.
So tell me a little bit, what part of the country are you in, David?
Midwest.
Okay.
Which, Louisville is a...
I act because I could be in downtown and in the next 5 minutes I'm in Indiana, and I thought that was pretty cool.
That is.
Just
that
by
is.
crossing
You're
the bridge.
in the country in a hurry.
Awesome. So now we're talking to David Lynch with Simonin Realty in Louisville, Kentucky. Am I pronouncing it right, David? Louisville?
That is correct.
Awesome.
You got it. I could tell you talked to someone here before.
Oh, yeah. I've been corrected before. You say Louisville in Louisville, and people look at you funny.
Right. That's right. Where are you from?
So now you're commercial realty. Most of the people that we talk to, they're either residential or in many cases they're investors. Tell us about the commercial industry that makes it different from, say, for instance, residential.
Some of the things that make commercial a little different is the time. It takes a much longer time to make from the actual listing to the sale to the closing. You can have some that could go as much as 2 or 3 years, depending upon the complication of it. So timing is a big issue. Then where you advertise is different methods to get the word out on the internet. We use about 20 platforms that we push our information out to. Okay. We have a state site, national site, and then these about 20 platforms we pass the information out to. So advertising is different.
I like what you said about the advertising, because I'm guessing with its commercial, do you guys ever try to focus, say, for instance, if a building's empty or a commercial real estate property is empty, do you maybe try to help companies who want to move into town, incentivize them to move into your places? Yes,
we do. That would be mostly leasing a lot of times. We do all kinds of leasing for large and small properties. And that's a little bit different game. You play that game with a letter of intent usually to say, it's kind of like, this is what I'd like to do, and then you negotiate that back and forth before you get to the lease.
I got you.
So that is the leasing side of it.
Huh. So tell us about, I know you mentioned how you got started, but what was the mindset that brought you into the commercial industry? And before you say that, we're talking to David Lynch with Simonin Realty, Commercial Realty in Louisville, Kentucky. Tell us a little bit about the mindset that took you into commercial versus where it seems like many other people like to go into homeowners and private property.
Well, growing up, I was a runner in high school and college, so that required a lot of doing on your own and some on teams. And from that background, I came into real estate. My brother-in-law sells farms in Tennessee and has done that for 30, 40 years. And I thought I'd get into residential, which I started in. And then I kind of expanded into commercial because it was a little more challenging. It takes a little more time, a little more effort, a little more knowledge. And you run into a lot of the big thing that's the difference between residential and commercial is zoning. You can only put certain kinds of businesses in certain locations of property based on the zoning. So, you can't just go out and buy any business you want. It has to fit the zoning method, or you have to get it rezoned. So you have zoning issues, you have environmental. A lot of times on homes you get a home inspection. Well, when you get to commercial, you have a commercial requirement, a lot of times by the lender, which could include environmental inspections. Those take a little bit of time. They're more expensive.
And I'm guessing most lenders aren't necessarily trying to rush the process. They want to make sure that their investment's going to be protected, right?
Exactly right.
So what about, I'm guessing there's also things like flood studies and things like that. What are some other, if I'm going to start a business, say even in Louisville, Kentucky, right? And I want to buy a piece of commercial property. What are the top 3 things I need to consider, even if it's zoning? What are the top 3 things I should consider before I even sign the contract on my new franchise?
Well, before you do anything, you really need to get with your lender, banker, whoever is going to help you with the money, and make sure you can get qualified. And that can take sometimes anywhere from a month to 2 or 3 months, even up to 6 months I have seen in the days when we were between 07 and 14.
Oh, in the market.
A long time because the market requirements for lending changed, and that forced more time involved in that. So the most important thing is to get started with the lender first. And then secondly, you want to find, someone you can work with that has kind of the same kind of mindset that you do. That's very helpful if you all working on the same page of kind of attitude of the process. So you find that, and then you find the different avenues to go and look. Still, a lot of it is on the internet, even though everything is not on the internet, unfortunately, on the commercial side, but a good majority of it is. So you start, your search on the internet and your search with your broker, and then you start working through the process of eliminating properties. So first is financing, second is getting your broker, and probably the third is to make sure you have someone knowledgeable that you can really talk to about what you really want. What's your goal? What's your objective? And then we talk about how you can get there. So those things come before you really actually go out and look at properties.
Well said. I like that. We've been talking to David Lynch right here on the Home of Biz Radio for Small Business show. He's with Simenon Commercial Realty. David, why don't you give the listeners a way to get a hold of you?
Well, there's several ways you can get a hold of me. My first is my email, dlynch, DLYNCH, @Simenon.com. That's SEMONIN.com. I also have a website, David Lynch, one word, .Simenon.com. I have plenty of numbers. Probably my cell number is the easiest way, area code 502-417-3888. You can find all that on my website, and I have a $5,000 bill on there. If you click on it, it'll give you a miniature 2.5-minute version of my listing presentation, so you kind of have a little heads up on what I do and how I approach it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. David Lynch with Simenon Commercial Realty right here on homeofbiz.com. Make sure as a listener, you touch, share, like, tweet, whatever you do, do it online. We're available everywhere. David, thanks for taking your time out on homeofbiz.com.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for the call.
Connect, capitalize, go.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rowe, host of the podcast For Business. On behalf of our team, I'd like Louisville commercial interruption necessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Hear something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the podcast For Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
Inside the mind of the owner. Radio for small business. Connect, capitalize, go.
It's Radio for Small Business. Your host, Eugene Rowe on homeofbiz.com. You can check out the show not just at homeofbiz.com, but on Google Play, iTunes. I think it's on YouTube. We've got it on Spreaker, Soundcast, and anywhere there's sound available, you can check it out. Right now, today, I've got a young lady who knows how to make things happen. She's got all the swag in your bag. SwagEssentials.com owner, Miss Lydia Evans. Welcome to Radio for Small Business.
Oh, thank you for having me, Eugene. I appreciate it.
So tell us, I remember you from ABC Shark Tank. That's where I remember you from. You went on to the show, but I don't want to talk about that yet. I want to talk about your background and how you got to starting business first. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, I started in business many years ago, actually 9 years ago, making a ladies line called La Bella Dolce. And it was like your handcrafted sugar scrubs, lotions, And my focus was for people that had sensitive skin like myself, because I'm a sufferer of eczema. And so I just made a bunch of natural products that were enriched with different oils and tinctures and hydrosols that help people like myself that had eczema. So that was my initial start, was actually solution to my own skincare issues.
Gotcha.
And as time went along, I became a licensed esthetician where I really, really studied and learned skincare by the book. So I just mixed the two, and here I am.
Wow. And eventually, I mean, now you've got a product that Forbes magazine calls the coolest gift for travelers. How was it getting that designation?
Oh, that was awesome. As a matter of fact, I found out by accident. That's so funny. A lot of the press we get, I find out by accident because it's like every once in a while I'll Google myself, which when I did it right after Shark Tank, everybody said, don't Google yourself, but I did. And I was like, oh my God, all these people that have gotten the product have wrote up on it. That's amazing. So I didn't find out about it until well after the journalist had wrote about it being the coolest gift for travelers. And she did that around the holiday. And then this past Father's Day, from a completely different journalist at Forbes, she named us the best gift for Father's Day.
Wow.
It was awesome.
Well,
yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, you got so much stuff going on. It's like, okay. And
tell them my number and firmly. I'm going to say I did $54,000 in sales as if I did $1 million.
Right.
Because I feel like to sell a $54,000 in one bar of soap by yourself out of the trunk of your car was a feat to me. So I went out there with all the confidence like I had a multi-million-dollar brand. But that doesn't mean that I didn't want to faint while I was on that stage.
Right.
Because it's very real. It's extremely real. So there's no pre-taping. There's none of that. You tape one time, and that's all you get. So when people saw me on TV on December 5th, that was the first time I saw myself.
Wow. So just in case you're just tuning in, we're talking to Lydia Evans, owner of swagessentials.com, swagessentials.com. Now, I'm saying swagessentials.com right now, and they're on Radio for Small Business. But Lydia, you've got a cool story about when you went on to the show, you didn't necessarily have that domain name yet, did you?
First, and I'm going to stand behind. So we took Tom as a domain. Well, shortly after we got that and we aired on Shark Tank, all of a sudden I get an email from an anonymous man. He said he wanted to stay anonymous. And he said, hey, why are you promoting Pure-Swag and not your domain? That's bad for branding. So then, of course, my first response was like, no, duh. Like, yeah, of course.
Really?
I know that. Do you think I would just purposely go get this name if it was available? So I responded to the name Pure-Swag. I love you. I love your personality. I think you're going to go far even without a shark. Responded back, and he said, I'm not asking you for anything. I love
Evans, owner of swaggs.com, right here on Radio for Small Business. You can check the show out on homeofbiz.com, Google Play, iTunes, and many, many more places, even Twitter and Facebook. Lydia, you mentioned something, and let's switch a little bit. Essential.
Only a small percentage, a certain percentage, because it's so unreal to me. Someone wants to talk to me. Someone wants the product. I mean, it was crazy. People were like, yeah, I'm trying to find out where I can come pick the product up. Well, we didn't have any retail locations but my brother's shop. And he said when he went to his shop the next day, it was a line